how to connect your database to a Quantum Fabric instance using object services. Let's start with our database. Today I want to connect to a table that's stored in MySQL. The first step is to create a set of credentials that allow me to access that table. I want to test to make sure that they're working with a native client. Here I'm using MySQL Workbench. The table that I want to access is the top stocks of 2007. As you can see, the data model here is what I want to be able to access from Quantum Visualizer. Here you can see my credentials allow me to access this table. Now let's open our Fabric console to the application that we want to connect to. First, we'll select the Objects tab. In this case, we're creating a new object. We're going to call it MySQL object. The next thing we select is the endpoint type. In this case, it's a relational database. Now the Fabric is asking us to provide several parameters in addition to the credentials that we tested earlier. Since the Fabric uses JDBC as a standard connection mechanism to external databases, the first thing we need to provide is the database driver class name, as you can see here. We want to connect using the MySQL driver class name shown on the Help tab. The next parameter is the database connection URL. JDBC has a specific syntax that includes JDBC as well as the host name and the database you want to connect to. The next two parameters are the username and password that we've already checked with our MySQL bench. Once we input these parameters, we can test our connection. And now that we have the green banner with the successful connection, we want to press Save and Configure. Now that we have the object created, we need to generate a data model. We can do that by pressing the Generate button. Now we're able to see which tables we can access. And I've selected my table, Top Stocks 2007. And press Generate, and the system's generating the data model for you. Once the data model is generated, we can check it on the left-hand side by looking at the fields. As you can see, all the fields are brought in. We can also check the mapping. And we see that we have get, put, and post operations. These data objects are now exposed to whatever Fabric application or Visualizer application uses this instance of my Fabric. Now that we've created our new data object service, let's show how to access it from the data panel within Quantum Visualizer. Here I have a new project. As you can see, I've connected it to our Fabric instance that we were working on earlier. First, I'll create a form. We'll call this our list form. Now let's check the data panel. As you can see, the Top Stocks 2007 has been brought in with 4 operations. Let's go and grab the get operation and drag it onto our canvas. Quantum's now asking us if we want to generate a list response. So let's click OK. As you can see, it created a segment with all of the IDs and labels from the data model that we brought in. So now if we test our application, now we have an index page of the top 100 stocks from 2007.